Good afternoon and welcome to our, oh, sorry, had a message come up there. Good afternoon and welcome to our final session of today for Aesthetic Medicine Virtual Week. I'm delighted to be joined by Paul Corbett from True Cryo, and he's going to talk to us. Hello. He's going to talk to us about targeted CO2 cryotherapy and whether it's the most versatile aesthetic treatment in the world. So I'm looking forward to hearing this. I will be back at the end for questions. So if you have any questions for Paul, please do just put them in the chat. And when Paul's finishes his presentation, I will come on and moderate and read out your questions. So enjoy the session and I will see you shortly.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining me here today. As an introduction to using targeted cryotherapy, oh, I've got another message on screen. Targeted cryotherapy using carbon dioxide and the Casen Life cryotherapy equipment. I've got a presentation for you here. There's a few slides, but I'm hoping that because we've broken it up with an interview, some animation and demonstrations, that this will not be death by PowerPoint this afternoon. So I just need to get into this, which will just take a second, and then I will share with you my screen so you can see what's happening. Technology at its best. Okay. Right, here we go. So we're looking at targeted cryotherapy rather than whole body cryotherapy as a very versatile treatment in aesthetics. First of all, what is cryotherapy? Very simple. It means cold therapy. Taken from the Latinized Greek cryo for cold, that's all it is. Most of you will have had an ice pack on a bruised eye or a painful joint over the years. Some of you will have seen the ice baths used by athletes. These are all basic forms of cryotherapy. However, some forms of cryotherapy are more effective than others, and I'm hoping to show you today that the targeted cryotherapy using the Casen Life will beat hands down most of the forms of cryotherapy available. So modern cryotherapy started in the 1970s, two very different corners of the globe. First of all, Dr. Yamaguchi in Japan, who was a rheumatologist, realized that if he cooled his patients down with painful joints very quickly, they reported far less pain, and also there was a notable reduction in inflammation in the site of pain. The other side of the world, over in America, Dr. Harvard noticed that children who were sucking ice lollies had dimples in their cheeks. He realized eventually that the action of having the cold ice in their mouth being sucked against their cheek was actually destroying fat cells without damaging other tissue around it. And this may be the first recorded instance of cryolipolysis, which we'll explain very shortly. So cryotherapy is all well and good, but what are we trying to do? Well, what we're doing is we're applying, in the case of the Casen, carbon dioxide gas, which is hitting the skin at -78 Celsius, which is pretty chilly, under pressure out of a cylinder, and it causes thermal shock. What's thermal shock? It's the body's natural reaction to being cooled down rapidly. Why are we doing this? We're trying to elicit lots of natural body biological responses to the cold. The first of which is the body's ability to close down some of the blood cells, blood vessels, and prevent the body being cooled down and the core body temperature being reduced too much. So I've got a couple of animations here which go a little bit quicker than I can speak, but here we see a cross-section of the skin with some fatty tissue underneath, and we see the gas hitting the skin. The skin will contract quite quickly, and you do get an apparent reduction in the thickness of the fatty tissue very, very quickly, pretty much instantly. What's also happening is that the blood vessels under the skin, here you can see them normally with blood flowing through them, they constrict. This reduces the blood flow, prevents the core body temperature from cooling down too much and ultimately becoming hypothermic. However, here's the beauty. As soon as we take away the cold source, the blood vessels dilate to around 4 times their usual diameter. This does several things. It floods the area with nice, fresh, oxygenated blood, which is very warm, which warms the area very nicely, gets you feeling much more comfortable very quickly. Additionally, there's a response from hormone production, neurotransmitter release, things like norepinephrine, dopamine flood to the area. This has many, many beneficial effects, including enhancement of mood. It's been used for treatment of depression. Because of the rich nutrients and hormones that are flooding to the area, the skin at the basal cell level has a chance to rejuvenate, and the skin is able to operate at a more optimal level. What this actually means is that more elastin is able to get to the skin, more collagens, more hydration, and so skin can appear much healthier. Fine lines and wrinkles are reduced just by natural processes. What also happens is that the underlying fat tissue, the adipose tissue, is cooled down. Now, as with the kids with dimples in America, fat tissue does not respond well to cold temperatures, and the fat cells start to self-destruct. It's a process called apoptosis. It's an irreversible effect, and fat cells are actually destroyed and eventually processed by the body, by phagocytes, the lymphatic system, and are excreted from the body, or they just go back into the system where they're metabolized. So what does this actually do? Ultimately, the process of apoptosis can take days, weeks, up to about 6 months to complete the process. And so over time, you get a gradual reduction in the fatty tissue underneath the skin, and you will get a permanent loss of that fat. If diet, exercise are maintained at their usual levels, then you will see a loss in weight and a loss of inches around the areas that are treated. Many of you will possibly be familiar with Dr. Vincent Wong, and because of good old social distancing, we thought it was easier for Dr. Vincent to record a message for us here and just give you a little bit of an explanation about the use of cryotherapy in the aesthetics sector.
How does this all translate into clinical practice? Well, with the vascularization that we just talked about, it can help to improve the endurance of wrinkles. And during the vasodilation phase, we also get a reduction in inflammation and an increase in fibroblast stimulation. So we can help with things like skin tightening, so jawline and any other parts. It also treat acne, and it also help to improve the appearance of acne scars and other scars as well. Now, with cryotherapy, we are also activating the brown fat in the body. So brown fat can actually release hormones to burn off the white fat, which is what a lot of people want to get rid of. So in some areas, activating brown fat, we can also help with things like autoimmune. So we can sculpt the abs area, the arm area, the buttock area, and a lot of other areas that to tell you all about. And with the same principle, we can also help to improve the skin quality and help with the appearance of cellulite. So the true cryo device helps to do the cleansing of nozzles to create a customized treatment for your patient. I personally love the device because the treatments are very quick. So treatment usually takes between 30 seconds to 8 minutes. There's no preparation required, there's no documentation, and there's no consumables from the gas tank. I usually combine it with other treatments that are already provided in the clinic, for example, fillers, and also with this, patients will love it because of the gap and the one experience actually contraindications, and also
Okay, I hope you could hear okay there. The sound quality was a little bit poor. We'll try and do something about that so that if anybody wants a copy of the presentation, we'll enhance the sound for you. So what Dr. Vincent was talking about there was the range and the versatility of treatments that can be performed with the CASN, all very targeted. So instead of going into a whole body cryo sauna where you're cooling the whole body in the same way, we use a targeted precise jet of cold gas coming out under pressure to treat specific areas of the body. So you can perform the cryo body sculpting, so shaping of the waistline, shaping of the buttocks, the backs of the legs, arms, neck, jawline. We can perform cryo-facials, which includes fine lines and wrinkles between the eyes, around the sides of the eyes, along the jawline to get more definition, and underneath the chin. It's a fantastic massage treatment as well. So it's not all about spraying the gas. There's a cold compress set of nozzles there, which cool down to around about -40 degrees in 6 seconds, and they're amazing when they're applied to the muscles in terms of muscle relaxation and that feeling of euphoria with the cold treatments. Excellent treatment for psoriasis and eczema. Signs and symptoms as well, which we'll show you very shortly. The energy boost is incredible. Stimulating the vagus nerve is very quick and very simple with the device, and that gives a feeling of well-being and also improved energy, and even for athletes, improved performance. And then lastly here, cellulite smoothing. A combination of the skin tightening, the plumping up of the skin with the collagen and the elastin in particular, along with apoptosis, that fat cell destruction under the surface, makes areas of the body affected by cellulite much smoother and tighter. So this is the CASN Life in a box. I'll show you one in real life in a second. Everything you need comes in the kit. Various pressure nozzles and compression nozzles. You've got a handle there. The device can be used with or without the handle. Everything in this box is everything that you need in a nice attaché carry case. So it's entirely portable. The whole thing weighs less than 7 kilos, so it's no problem if you're providing mobile services or wanting to take it away of an evening. So I've now got another demonstration video. I'll be talking across the top of this. We start off with a cryo-sculpt around the waist and the abdomen, and then we move on to a jawline tightening. But you can see the white eyeliner pen here and the tape measure. These are ideal tools to have so that you can mark up your patients as necessary and then measure them and show them the almost instantaneous results after the body sculpting in particular. We have clients on a regular basis in clinics that use our equipment where people are losing between 1 and 4.5 centimeters in 8 to 9 minutes. So here you can see the abdomen is marked into 3 positions, three zones, with 90 written in each area there. That's 90 seconds treatments. So we're going to start off by spraying 90 seconds on each flank and 90 seconds on the abdomen in the middle, and then another 90 seconds on each area as well. We're trying to get the whole area down to between 1 degree and 4 degrees overall for a few seconds, just to get penetration through the skin. The amount of time you spray in an area depends on the size of the person you're treating. So for smaller framed people, you can reduce that down to 60 seconds in each area. For larger framed people, you might need to increase the spray time maybe to 120 seconds into each zone. So here you can see the display on the screen. Now, what you can see on the left there is the proximity sensor, and Nick has been moving it up and down so that you can see what happens. At the moment, he's got it smack bang in the middle, which is the perfect distance away from the client. And then on the right-hand side, upside down, you can see how many seconds of treatment are left and the temperature of the skin. And you'll see that it comes down very rapidly. And you'll also notice that the white light that's sprayed, that's underneath the spray, turns blue. So every time the temperature sensors on the skin detect the skin reaching 4 degrees or so, they turn blue, just to give you another visual indication of the fact that you've hit the target temperature. Here we are on the flanks. Again, you're spraying an area around about A5 paper size area at a time, and moving on to the next area as you get down to 4 degrees of temperature at the surface of the skin. As I say, the results of this are generally instantaneous. There's no waiting for a week or a month to see the results. You will get an instant inch loss. So we're now moving on to the jawline, and Nick's going to perform 2 sets of treatments here. This is a lower pressure nozzle, and he's spraying it onto the neck, unfortunately the wrong side of his hand, but he's spraying it onto the neck and the jawline for ultimately to produce a skin tightening effect. Again, you'll see that the skin tightens pretty much instantaneously, and in the photos that I'll show you very shortly, you'll see some of the results are really, really dramatic. This is quite pleasant. You use your hand there just to stop any gas spraying towards the eyes and the nose, but otherwise it's really quite pleasant. So here's the compression nozzle. Now you'll see the gas coming out of the end there. That's cooling the nozzle down, as I say, to -40 Celsius in 6 seconds, which is -40 Fahrenheit as well. And then you can see that we apply it as a gentle compress along the jawline, and then ultimately moving just down onto the neck as well. And this can really, really tighten the skin and give incredible results. Anybody with loose skin, older patients, clients that have lost weight and have excess skin will be absolutely overjoyed with the results here. So if we move along now, so we suggest that the optimum number of treatments here is between 5 and 7. You'll get the instant results, which a lot of the instant results are from skin tightening in the first instance, and those results will tend to last anywhere between 48 hours and 7 days. So we then recommend that clients come back for another treatment. Weekly treatment is ideal, but certainly every couple of weeks, every month is no problem. The process just takes longer to achieve the results. The photos you're seeing here have been taken by clinics and spas in the UK and America. They're just taken on a phone, on the spot with clients. There is no airbrushing, no special effects, nothing. Clients that have had the treatments have told us that they've pretty much remained on their same diet, their same exercise regime. So you're seeing the results of the cryo rather than a crash diet. This particular treatment, again, I think was done over about 7 weeks. And again, you can see some pretty dramatic weight loss at the front and the sides. Back to the cryo-facial. Jawline contouring here. This particular client was seen by a clinic in Shrewsbury, aesthetics clinic. That's a single treatment, a single jawline treatment. There would have been probably no more than about 2 to 2.5 minutes of cryotherapy applied to the face there, combination of the spray and the cold compress. This is from a clinic in the States, over in Florida, And again, this photo was taken immediately after the first single session, lasted only about 2.5 minutes with the cryo being applied to the face there. Works on men as well, so it's not just women that are coming in for the treatments. You can see quite a dramatic effect here. This was taken by the same clinic over in Florida as well. Acne and scarring respond very, very well to the cryo. This was a photo taken about 3 weeks apart after a couple of treatments with the cryo, and again you can see that the scarring and the active acne on the face there has really, really changed quite dramatically. It's quite life-changing in some instances. Over to eczema and psoriasis. A single treatment on the left there. Before the treatment, you can see it's pretty red and angry. After 1 week, after one treatment, the area has started to dry up quite considerably. The clients that have been treated with psoriasis in particular have reported instant relief from the symptoms, the pain and the itchiness in particular. And generally the improvement lasts anywhere between 4 and 6 days, and so a weekly treatment for psoriasis has proved most successful for a lot of patients. So we're not curing the psoriasis, we're just treating the signs and symptoms rather than anything else. Here you can see a gentleman who's got pretty significant psoriasis on his legs. He's actually got quite a lot across his whole body. These were taken around about a week apart. Again, after a single treatment, he said that it was life-changing. He was able to wear clothes that he hadn't worn before. He was getting a great night's sleep, and just feeling a lot more comfortable and confident in himself. So the safety. I've mentioned that we're working with carbon dioxide. We're working with cylinders of liquid CO2, pretty much the same as the fire extinguisher that you see on the wall of most offices and clinics. So as long as you're using it in a well-ventilated area, we recommend having a carbon dioxide alarm just to be safe rather than sorry. You'll make sure, as you do with any other treatments that you're carrying out, that you're carrying out a pre-treatment consultation, and you're making sure that your client doesn't have any contraindications, such as peripheral vascular disease or a relatively narrow range of other conditions, which would suggest that the cryotherapy is not absolutely ideal for them. One of the big questions we get asked is about business insurance. Will this be a major problem? The answer is it has little or no effect on insurance costs. Anecdotally, our clients and our distributors say the annual effects of the insurance is around about £60 per year, if anything. So you're not kind of going into a high risk area which is going to cripple your business with insurance costs. Talking about safety, in terms of safety features on the device, dual skin temperature sensors, laser proximity sensor, white light and blue light to show the area being sprayed and the target temperature being reached. The very clear display, LCD display on the front there showing you time left, temperature of the skin, and the visual proximity sensor. The device shuts off if the skin gets too cold or down to target temperature. It only restarts when you move to a different part of the body with a higher temperature. So there's very little chance of you cooling somebody too much. And there's audible beeps as well, which give you a bit of an indication before anything cuts out, just a little nudge to move the device on. So you'll be pleased to know we're getting very close now to the end of the presentation. Just a comment here from Laura Huggett, the aesthetic practitioner in Shrewsbury. She says that she has clients in tears quite often, whether they've come in for a facial to tighten some skin, for the Cryo-Sculpting. The effect has been so dramatic and so instant that that she regularly has clients in tears. The great thing is, because clients don't have to wait weeks and months to see any effect at all, they come back very quickly, and they continue with the treatment. So there is a huge element of recurring income here. Treatment costs in the UK at the moment, depending on whether you're in rural Shrewsbury or in a city, go between roughly £50 for an 8-minute treatment around the waist, up to I think the highest we've seen charged is about £1,000 for a facial with a dermatologist in central London. But certainly £50 to £100 per session, and those then would form part of maybe a 5-week course or so, are generally what's recommended, and are very affordable by most clients. So we have a number of distributors around the world. In the UK, we have Jet Medical. In the US, we have CryoNext. We've got distribution available in every country around the world. Rather than putting all of the details up here, if you log on to truecryo.com, or just drop us an email at support@truecryo, have a word with Nick Peters. He'll give you all of the details necessary and put you in touch with somebody that can supply you. We can answer questions in the meantime, and we're here to help and support you for the long term. So we are now at the end. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and come back to the camera.
Thank you, Paul. That was really interesting. And we have had lots of questions, but Alexandra's been busy answering them in the chat. So I don't think there's any for me to actually ask you. She's been very efficient. So let's have a look back. I think most of the you covered so much in your presentation anyway, you know, and it's obviously a really versatile treatment, which I think is something that appeals to people. So a lot of people, one of the questions was about consumables and cost of consumables.
Okay, so first of all, I'm going to step out and grab this case. Everything that you need comes in, oh, which way am I going? In a case, nice case here. Everything you saw in the picture comes in with the kit. So first of all, you don't need to buy different adapters for different treatments. It's all in there. We provide full training at your premises. So somebody will come to you, they will stay with you, they will let you use the equipment, practice, and make sure that you've got your technique correct. Next thing is, the only consumable that's involved here is the liquid CO2. So if anybody has seen a CO2 fire extinguisher, the cylinders are not dissimilar in size. You can get them as large or small as you like. They're very, very cheap. So anywhere between maybe 10 and 20 pounds per cylinder. And with that, you'll get quite a few treatments out of it. You would certainly be able to treat 3 or 4 clients with the Cryo-Sculpting around the waist, with a cost of somewhere between, I'll say, less than £20 as a general rule, and very easy to get hold of. So we use food grade CO2. You can get it from your local gas supplier, so BOC, for instance, but there are lots of gas people around the country. We'll help you find the gas suppliers. So you're not left on your own there. And again, our distribution network has a full list of gas suppliers as well. So that's the only consumable. You don't need to buy it from us or your distributor. You can just get your best deal.
Okay, fantastic. So someone's saying that they have the sorry if I'm saying the name wrong. Kaizen, is that how you say it? Original Blue.
Yeah.
Can they use the additional nozzles of the Kaizen Life machine on the Original Blue one? I hope that makes sense to you.
It does indeed.
A technical question.
Yeah. So the Kaizen has undergone several updates. We've got our own in-house team of engineers, developers, the software and the firmware engineers, and so we're continuously improving the device. So if that person, and thank you very much for having our device, if that person would like to get in touch with us directly, if they email Nick at the support at truecryo.com, we'll find out what version you've got. We can offer an over the web update of the software, and yes, the additional nozzles could well work with your device there once we've updated the software, and we can price that for you, and I'm sure we can do a pretty good deal for you.
Okay. Oh, this is an interesting question. I'm assuming that, are there any environmental issues adding of CO2 into the atmosphere?
The $1 million question.
Yeah.
Okay, so CO2 that we're using, very good question, by the way. CO2 that we're using is all reclaimed CO2. So whilst we are releasing CO2, we're not actually producing any CO2 with the products. Most of the gas that's used, particularly with BOC, is reclaimed from industrial processes or reclaimed out of the atmosphere rather than being manufactured, produced for this process. So we're not actually producing CO2.
Yeah. Okay. That was a good question. And someone else has said, please explain what is happening to the body fat in the process.
Okay, yes, the video wasn't entirely clear. So we call that process cryolipolysis. Lipolysis is when the fat cells die. The specific process is apoptosis, if you want to Google that. Apoptosis is a programmed cell death. Once it's initiated by the cold temperature, it's irreversible, and the cells do destruct and die. So we're not shrinking the fat cells, we're not dehydrating the fat cells, they are actually being destroyed and metabolized by the body, reused in some instances within the body, or excreted from the body. So overall, you are losing fat cells from your body permanently. This is not a weight loss solution. So we're not prescribing these treatments for somebody who has potentially a very high BMI or a very unhealthy lifestyle. The idea of the cryo-sculpting are for people that are just looking to sculpt that last little bit and maintain a healthy lifestyle overall. So please don't think that this is a silver bullet for weight loss. Really not aimed at that, albeit you can see there are some dramatic results there. This is really part of a healthy lifestyle.
I think that's so true, isn't it? For anything, there's no magic solution. If anyone ever comes up with it, they will be a billionaire.
Absolutely, yes.
We all have to do the work, do the lifestyle stuff as well. Okay, so I have got another question. What qualifications are required to do the treatment? So this person saying they missed the start, so they don't know if they missed that. What qualifications do you need to perform the treatment?
Okay, so you don't need any specific qualifications. We or our distribution network have trainers that will come out to your premises. They'll train you and your staff how to safely use the equipment. We'll do train the trainer training. That's good, isn't it? Make sure that you and your staff are entirely competent. Nobody will receive this by post and with a letter saying good luck, hope you do well. Additional to that, we will come out, we'll do top-up training, we will do live webinar training for top-ups as well, but we will assess you and make sure that you're using the equipment correctly and safely. And we're not here just to sell boxes of equipment, we're here to revolutionize the cryo-aesthetics sector. And so we want people to be using this in the best possible way, getting the optimal performance from it. So, yeah.
Fantastic. There's lots of questions coming in thick and fast now. We've got 5 minutes left, so I will I'll try and whiz through them. What about eczema on the scalp? Someone's saying. So I know obviously you showed a fantastic case with psoriasis. What about eczema on the scalp?
Yes. So over Christmas this year, I know of 2 clients that came into a particular clinic. They were both women. One hadn't been to the hairdressers, I think, for 10 years because of the eczema, and the other one with psoriasis hadn't been to the hairdresser for several years. I can't remember specifically how many. After a single treatment, most of the scales had gone from their scalps, and both of them were able to go and get their hair done for Christmas parties, and both were absolutely in tears. They said it changed their lives. So it does work wonderfully well. And again, as part of the treatment, the training there, we can show you how to perform these treatments.
Fantastic. Someone else is asking, is there a risk to normal cells in the body?
No. So if you were to switch off all of the safety equipment, safety features on the device, and ignore our training completely, and you just sprayed carbon dioxide onto someone's skin at -78 for too long, you'll give them a frostbite. You've got to be, we've designed this equipment to be very simple, very easy, straightforward to use, and incredibly safe. So unless you are intentionally using it with incompetence, ignoring any warnings that you get, and overriding any of the safety features, it is very, very safe.
Okay, fantastic. So it's a comment from Facebook. Someone's asking, how much do you recommend charging per session? Well,
this does vary. But as I mentioned earlier, the treatments that, so an 8 to 9 minute treatment around the waist for the cryo-sculpting there, we see prices. I know there's a relatively local clinic that charges £50 for a session. There is a clinic in Falkirk which is charging, I think, £100 for a session. In London and the home counties, we know that there are people charging up to about £250 per session. They literally last 8 or 9 minutes. And you will be using, depending on the cost of your gas, you'll be using maybe £4, £5, £6 worth of gas for one of these treatments. So the return on investment is pretty good.
Yeah. In fact, pricing's different anywhere, isn't it? People price differently depending on where they're based, and
it is, yeah. And we see not dissimilar pricing, range of prices across the world. So in Australia and East Coast, West Coast of America, Spain, Portugal, there's reasonably similar levels of charges for the treatments.
Yeah. Okay, fantastic. What is the maximum treatments to sculpt around the abdomen? So how many? Is there a maximum?
Well, they're realistically, yeah, 8 to 9 minutes on say, I don't know what average means, but on an average kind of person, 8 or 9 minutes. Probably the most I've ever seen and ever performed myself would be probably about 11 minutes or so around the abdomen. So again, very, very quick. There's no prep time. There's no side effects, so there's no recovery time. We get people in. There's one area in Shrewsbury where you can park for 15 minutes without paying any parking. People can pull up on the lay-by, dive into the clinic, have a full body sculpting or abdominal sculpting session, be back in the car without paying for their parking, and they can carry on their lunch hour and job done. So there's no bruising, there's no
I'm
pain.
Sure that's in the marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. So it really is very, very, very fast. So in terms of turnaround of clients in your clinic, you can potentially be having 4 clients an hour, where you're charging 50 to 100, 150, 200 pounds per client.
Okay, wonderful. We've got so many questions coming in. I'm sure it'll be all right to just do a little bit extra time. Okay, let me have a scroll through. Sorry, we've already answered that. Is there a possibility to get uneven results if only some of the fat cells are being killed off?
So the way the gas hits the skin and spreads out, we've never ever found anybody with uneven sculpting. Actually, to the contrary, we do get quite a few clients that have used other types of cryotherapy, local cryotherapy. So there are some that use negative pressure suction and cold plates to kind of suck the skin up and to squeeze it. Those can lead, we've seen lots of photographs and anecdotal evidence, those can leave a lot of bruising and can give uneven results. Many of our clinics receive patients and clients in there asking if there is a solution to that, and many of them do turn to the Casen Life to smooth out the unevenness that they've got from other treatments. So no, it's very smooth, very even. If you were to treat one leg and not the other leg, you would definitely see the difference.
Yeah.
But if you're treating around the waist, around the abdomen, then absolutely you won't get uneven results.
Yeah. Someone else was asking, are the results permanent or is maintenance required? And I guess that comes into what you were saying earlier about obviously the diet and lifestyle factors. I suppose we can't ever guarantee things are permanent because people will do what they do when they leave the clinic.
Yeah. So the fat loss is permanent. The problem with fat is that fat cells can grow larger. So you can have fewer of them, but they can grow larger. So if you reduce the number of fat cells that you have in your body, you maintain your lifestyle in terms of diet and exercise, those results will be permanent. If you have the treatments and lose a lot of inches and a lot of weight from those treatments, and then you double your calorie intake or you stop your exercise, the likelihood is that you're going to put weight on. So as long as they're part of a balanced lifestyle, healthy lifestyle, yes, they're as permanent as a diet will be. You know, if you diet and you lose all that weight and then you go back to eating chocolate and a lot of calories, you'll put the weight back on.
Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, okay. Going back to, I think this is when we were talking about the eczema for the scalp. Someone said, was it eczema or seb dermatitis? Do we know?
Yes, again, superb results. So they're autoimmune diseases, and there's varying medical explanations for what's happening with the cryo, but essentially you're maximizing, you're optimizing the skin's ability to behave in the best possible way and to be in the best possible condition. There are doctors out there that will give a better explanation than that, but it does work. It's with psoriasis, generally 4 to 6 or 7 days worth of relief from the symptoms. Over 6 or 7 weeks, we found that the redness and in some instances the whole visual appearance of the psoriasis can almost disappear. We're not curing psoriasis. I've got to be absolutely clear there. We're not curing psoriasis or eczema. What we are doing is making the symptoms and the outward signs of the condition much better. So we take away the itchiness, the redness, the wetness, and it allows people really to wear clothes that they couldn't wear before because of friction, get a good night's sleep, and just have the confidence to do activities that they haven't been able to do in the past.
Okay, fantastic. All right, we're getting a few more questions, so let me just see if we're kind of running out of time, but we've got some coming through from Facebook as well. So let me just check. So someone else has asked if the process is painful.
No, it's cold, and it will make you go, "Whoo!" No, it's remarkably comfortable in most cases. Pain thresholds vary, and so some people may find it a little bit uncomfortable, but it is not. It's not painful. Some people report, as the skin gets down to 4 degrees, a slight needling sensation, almost like pins and needles on the skin. But no, essentially, it's not at all. In America, they use this treatment on children, not in the aesthetic sector, but for treatment of skin conditions. And I've seen kind of kids of 7 or 8 years old in America being treated and being perfectly happy, along with people in their 80s and 90s being perfectly happy and comfortable. Women have the best pain threshold, though.
Well, we do. Is there a maximum number of treatments that you can have in the same area?
None that we found so far. So the Casen has been on the market now for about 4 years, and we have thousands of clients, thousands of clients that use it. Some clients use it every single day, others once a week, once a month. The only thing that we've ever found is that if you're using it every day, occasionally you can get a little bit of soreness in a particular area. But again, it really varies by individual to individual. But certainly, if somebody wanted a couple of abdominal treatments per week, with 3 or 4 days in between, that's not going to cause any problems at all.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much. I think we're about out of time now, but that was really interesting
My pleasure.
and really informative. Somebody was just asking about the CPD for these webinars. So what we have asked everyone to do in advance of this is to send us over their learning objectives. So post-event, you have to have logged on to these actual webinars so that we know that you've sat in and listened for the entire thing. So if you are logged on now and you have been to our other webinars, post-event you will get sent the kind of assessment questionnaire, and that will just have the learning objectives on it to make sure that you've understood, and everybody that's logged into the webinars will then receive CPD certificates afterwards. Obviously, that's always subject to the approval by the CPD service. So they will also look over all the material. Yeah, so get in touch with us if you want to know more about the CPD and how that works. But thank you so much, Paul. That was a really interesting session.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, lovely to see you. And we'll share Vincent's video as well. We'll work out a way we can share that with people.
Yes. Sorry about the sound quality there. That was pretty poor.
There's always technical issues of doing these things online, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
But, thank you very much. Stay safe and healthy. And
thank you.